there were times like we would go to Coachella and had that ballin' house.
Dude, that was a different time for my Coachella days. Like now going to Coachella, it's a lot different because I'm like searching for hotel rooms and stuff like that, figuring out where we're going to stay. That was like an out of this world experience because like it was a full estate. I've found that doing podcasts over 2 hours, I start to feel.
Were yours 2 hours?
No, but I've been on a few that were just like, yo, is this over? Like, I don't have anything else to say.
I know. Yeah, once it stopped, like, yeah, we kind of hit a mark. Like, I kind of know where we are. They might tell me, and then we kind of can wrap it up.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Am I sounding all right?
I think you sound great.
All right.
Is this were you guys doing it before? Like when you did your podcast?
So before COVID, we were doing it in person. And we would just have we would go to friends' houses that have studio setups. Yeah. And they would just help us record them, and then we'd hire everyone to cut it and shit. I tried to teach myself to cut podcasts, and it was I can't do it. We always needed help, which is a big reason why we had to stop, because we just realized how much work goes into putting together an hour-long episode. Cutting them, cutting all of our ums and likes and all that shit. It was dude, this is tedious shit.
I know. It's a full thing. I've been telling our intern squad here that I have in the building, I mean, these are new mediums, though, I think, that are just not going to go away. I mean, you started doing it a couple of years ago. I think you guys were right when everyone was starting to do it, too. I mean, we recognize that this is what artists are going to do, and directors and actors and brands. I think it's just it's a new it's a whole new job. It's a whole new career people are going to be doing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and people want to hear from their their stars, who they love, their influencers. And podcasts provide that kind of opportunity to bridge that channel in an interesting way through audio and video, and you can get so much content from episodes. It's crazy these days.
I know that, and that's the thing. We found we'll find little cut downs that we can use for socials and whatnot, but
you got to meet my buddy Andrew Cram.
He
runs Where Are All My Friends podcast.
And I think I've seen that on socials, maybe.
Yeah, he's another partner in version 3. But
cool.
He also has Where Are All My Friends. You guys just need to cross pollinate, because he's doing the same thing. He's talking to music people and different. He's expanded into real estate, like Kevion and shit like that. Yeah, you got to connect with them.
Cool.
I'm gonna put you two together.
Yeah. I guess we'll do a little intro because I was talking, but
all right, we just jumped into it.
No,
okay,
no,
so do I have to do? I love this shit.
No.
I miss this stuff.
No, this is exactly. I know. I had Abby, my partner here, 3 hours ago, runs Dojo House with me. I brought in a female partner.
Yeah,
and it's she was kind of nervous, and then she got it on. She's like, "Oh, this is okay, I'm in it."
Yeah,
and same with Lunt yesterday. It just flows. It's just a convo, just flowing. We were just talking outside. But yeah, I guess I'll just go into the first now 2 or 3 minutes that we've been in. But yeah, Nobody Gets a Podcast. I'm here with Ben Farber, known for a long time. We're going to kind of get into that, because when I first moved to LA and had some opportunities at the foreground, you were right there, and we developed a really cool friendship.
Yeah.
And I've always been someone I've talked to throughout the years and admire your career path. So I wanted to have you on today and just talk.
No, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, dude. It's actually funny hearing you say and taking us all the way back to when we first met. Dude, we've known each other now for...
That's 2023. I'd say maybe 10 years, maybe more.
Dude,
because I was in New York still, right? When you were coming to New York.
I joined Pandora in 2013.
Okay.
August 2013.
Yeah.
And Jess, our mutual friend, joined, I think, a month after me.
Mm-hmm.
And then we must have met probably when we did a show in New York.
Yeah, because I think I was still living. I actually remember this vividly, because I might use a picture of this. But yeah, there's a picture of me and Jess, and then our 2 other girls, Laura and Julia, and then Bob and Scott at a Pandora event. I think it was a winter New York show.
Yep.
And we're all wearing funky, weird stuff. But yeah, that was 2013 when we're 23. So dude, we've known each other 10 years now.
That's fucking wild to think about. Yeah,
a decade.
Yeah, you guys were fucking nuts.
We were, dude.
And I loved every minute of it. You guys guys were a really good crew for sure.
It was right out of college. It felt like friends. We had the guys' apartment in like Stuytown of New York City, 20th and 1st, and the girls, Jess. Shout out Jess too, because we gotta give her a shout out. She's like, you boys better give me a shout out. But the Jess plus 4 other girls in a 2-bedroom like apartment in Murray Hill.
I remember that.
Like fucking walls up in the living room, but yeah, we were 23 out of college and just like loving. Like she joined Pandora. I think all of us kind of had these cool like kind of roles at the time, and it was like really gearing up to how the future could be. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm super happy. Like, you know, you and her just clicked as friends like right away, and it feel like you were just instantly part of like our group and every event we'd have. Like, I was just so happy to see you and party with you.
Yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun. How is everyone good? Everyone's like,
good, man. They're all like, you know, married with kids. Yeah, out of the city in Stanford. I'm Uncle Danny to all their kids.
Incredible.
Jess's daughter Peyton and Bob and Laura's kid Luke, and they all have kids. So
yeah,
like,
I've seen it. Yeah. I follow everyone still on Instagram, and like, it's good to see everyone like growing up. But.
Yeah, I saw them like 2 months ago, and yeah, it's just crazy how it's just progressed like that.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it's crazy how that time flies. But then yeah, we would go to you were at Pandora for a long time, but I just remember very memorable moments of my like, you know, career. Like Jess would give me these positions to shoot Pandora events, so I would be able to like work with you guys from the content side and cover, you know, artists and stuff. And there were times like we would go to Coachella and had that ballin' house.
Dude, that was a different time for my Coachella days. Like now going to Coachella, it's a lot different because I'm like searching for hotel rooms and stuff like that, figuring out where we're going to stay. That was like an out of this world experience because like it was a full estate where they have like, it's used for weddings and events. That's it.
Yeah.
And Pandora, we always just wanted to go to Coachella. We would do an event on Saturday from like 1 to 4. Yeah. Sponsor was always like T-Mobile.
T-Mobile, yeah.
But yeah, we would get the whole estate for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
We would just pack that out. We'd all just stay for the whole weekend.
I mean, I'd stay in the guest house, and I'm like, how is like, you'd stay in the house. Like, how is like, I'm a videographer, and I got like a guest house room, but like, tennis courts and 2 or 3 pools. And it was just so fun because, there's like you and Jess and Allison and Liz. Like, oh man, like it was such a good core for like me to see. Cause I'd say Pandora was probably the first brand that like trusted me with their visuals, and before Aviator Nation, cause this is, a little bit before. And like, it was just so awesome to have people like Jess was obviously my best friend from college, but like seeing how awesome you are as a friend, but also as a professional. Yeah. Same with all the rest of them who I was named. But yeah, it was very, I don't know, it was a very good first like comforting thing that I'm like, oh, this is like how like working with your friends can be, like, you know,
dude. Well, a lot of credit to you, man, because watching you and what you have done over the years, I mean, you took that opportunity, and like, it's kind of fucking wild for me to see what you're involved with now from that point. Like, so dude, like props to you for just taking and running that, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun just like being that brand, you know, content person, seeing where it was provided. And then I did Aviator Nation, and you know, there are music festivals, and I leveraged that to just be friends with artists like Griffin and Quinn 92 and the Chainsmokers.
Dude, Rory, like all those people, Rory. Man. You started to like name these names, and I would be like, dude, I'm fucking fans of all these people, and you're like plugged in.
Yeah, you know? I mean, all these dudes just like, they all paid it forward. Like Rory especially, like he was the first one to give me like a wristband to go shoot the Chainsmokers at ACL. And like, I remember I was like, you know, I met up with him and I was like walking away. And he's like, Danny, like I got a wristband for you. I'm like, holy shit, like what do I do? And this is an amazing opportunity. And he was just like, just pay it forward. And I think that's always like stuck with me. Yeah. What he said to me, and like giving opportunities, just like to all these ones that I had this summer. It's just like, you never know when you give opportunities to people where they're gonna go, and what they'll remember for you by doing that at the very like heyday in the foundation years.
Dude, 100%. I mean, this business, the entertainment business, there are so many different sectors of it, right? Like, I'm on the recorded music side. You're on the content creation side. Yeah. There's agencies. There's marketing agencies. There's managers, right? Like everyone. It's so fucking small. Yeah. Like, dude, I like even to this day when I go to a Spotify event now, I see a lot of the people that produce the Pandora events. Oh yeah. And it's like, whoa, you know? So like, even though we don't really work in the same capacities on a daily basis, you start to over time see that like everyone is kind of flowing in this like really small circle. And to your point, like paying it forward and like building those positive relationships, that to me is the key to success in the music business, period. Yeah. Like that's it. Yeah. Everything else is hard work and like it'll just come to you as end time.
Yeah.
Right? Like we can sit here now and say that we've both been doing this for years, 10
Seriously.
plus years for you, almost, I think it was 16 for me now. Like,
yeah.
Whoa, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
What was the first, so 16, before Pandora, what were you doing? Why did you want to get into music? I mean, we can touch in like, I love that you and I honestly, actually now in a few podcasts now we've been talking about Blink-182 has come up a lot. And
oh God, yeah.
I mean, you get smiled with that. I do too. And it's like, I got to work with Travis, and like, I think I was saying on one of the podcasts, like, for me, the thing I love about music videos is like, getting to work with people that you grew up with posters on your wall. Yeah. And now they're here just like trusting you with the creative. And that's been awesome. And like, even Lunt yesterday, we were talking about how they're on tour with them and stuff. And it's, for us, it's like, the people we grew up with, we're getting to work with. And I think you're special when you make those moment connections with people too. Yeah. It's like, how did you get into music? Like, what started you wanting to get into all this?
So I started, I mean, I've always been a lover of music all the way since I can remember. My mom sent me into the boys chorus. I love saying that because it's so fucking funny now.
I was there, dude.
Really? Yeah. But then, you know, like I also had a love for sports, and I got really into skateboarding. And skateboarding became like my every weekend type of thing. And then skate videos came into the picture. And so like my mom would buy me CDs here and there and stuff like that. Like I remember she handed me a Fiona Apple CD once. I was like, this is cool. Like, I don't know what this music is. But then when I started watching skate videos is where like punk came into my picture. So it was like probably like 12, 13. And like, that's where my love of like buying CDs started to really like kick in. Like
Sam Goody, FYE days.
Dude, Warehouse. I was the Warehouse dude.
Yeah.
That was my spot. But
so where'd you grow up?
I'm from San Francisco originally. Bay Area.
Cool.
Specifically in Marin, Sausalito.
Nice.
But yeah, like my friends and I, we would all like start talking music and like trading CDs and buying CDs and stuff. And so punk was like really where I like fell in love with music on a daily basis. And then it just carried. Like Blink, as you said, is my favorite band of all time at this point for a number of different reasons that I don't need to get into right now. But
that'll be a whole other
that
podcast
was the shift.
Episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring you back. We're just gonna do one whole thing on Blink.
I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of carried, and you know, I learned to play the guitar. I wanted to be I played in a few bands. I mean, we went nowhere, but we would play like garage shows, and it was just so much fun, which is crazy because I relate a lot of the conversations that I have in my meetings now in the label to like what I was doing as a kid, which is funny. We could talk about that. But I went to college in Ohio, and it was a very drastic kind of experience for me as far as coming from San Francisco, and that's where I started. You know, my mom was like, you got to start figuring out what you're going to do in your life. And I was like, fuck, I don't know. But she was like, you know, you love music. I was like, yeah, I love music. She was like, you should consider the music business. And I was like, wow, I've never really considered like me working in music professionally.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to have a family friend who is practically, I would say, my step and dad today, that plugged me into an internship at Interscope here in LA.
Oh, cool. So Interscope. I didn't know that.
Interscope
Okay.
was the first place. Yep.
Cool.
2006, I came down here for a summer. And at that time, internships, they don't pay money. They were a much different experience from today, but I got to learn the inner workings of working at a marketing department at one of the major labels.
For sure.
And I did that for 2 solid summers. And then I went back and forth to Interscope, where I worked for the same dude, Tony Riggin. Shout out to my buddy Tony, who's one of my mentors to this day now.
Awesome.
He plugged me into a job in digital marketing in 2008 once I graduated from college.
Cool.
And I had no fucking clue what that was. It was a small boutique label where at the time major labels didn't have digital teams. They called it new media.
Oh yeah.
And they would have like 1 or 2 people doing it.
Yeah.
So they would hire out these companies to help with like blog posts and getting
because you said 2008, right?
2008. So Twitter didn't exist.
Right.
The Instagram was.
I mean, I don't think we even had like social media yet on our phones.
No.
Like because I mean,
Facebook was obviously that was like the only thing, but like
but it wasn't mobile. It wasn't. You have to still log in from the computer. Like it wasn't like it was just like on your phone.
Fuck, you're right.
So that's even like it still wasn't like where it is today, where it's like always at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But
so they would hire us like Tumblr. Yeah. Tumblr was a big one, you know, like what are we doing? What's the strategy on Tumblr? So anyways, that was really cool because, usually when you start in the music business, you know, at a label or management company, you're starting off as an assistant, right? Like that's where it all kind of begins for a majority of people in the business. For me, it was I felt like I almost skipped that step because I was like the marketing manager for Warner, Atlantic, Interscope, Columbia, working with these digital teams who I know a ton of them now to this day, which is so wild. But so yeah, and I handled specifically rock and alternative because that's my lane.
Yeah,
so I got to do a lot of really cool stuff. One campaign was Blink when they put out Neighborhoods. That was in 2012 when they got back together.
Nice.
But dude, Pandora walked into my office. Vix walked into my office.
Oh yeah.
And she, like, Pandora was obviously, you know, there. Like, people knew who it was, like, from as far as a music business standpoint, but no one was really paying attention to it because it was kind of ruining the business at the time.
Yeah.
But she came in and she started talking about what Pandora was doing with artists. And she showed me, I'll never forget it. She put up Pandora on the screen, and it was Selena Gomez, and it was a sponsored by Toyota campaign. And she was showing me there's audio liners in here, and it did 200,000 station ads in the first 24 hours. And I was just like,
yeah,
holy shit, this is fucking cool.
Did she do this for you or
no, the
cool.
whole team?
Yeah, she's doing a presentation. Gotcha.
And yeah, she I was just blown away. I was like, dude, I have to be at this company. And I was always so involved with interested in tech. So I just, like, I don't know, a light bulb went off in my head that, like, this is the future of where I need to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes
when you just know, you have a feeling, right? Like, you had a feeling in you where, like, there's something about this that, like, I can, like, elevate, I can learn from, or this is just where I'm seeing it to go. And then, yeah, you just kind of make that jump, and you probably,
yeah. So I reached out to Vix blindly because I didn't actually, my buddy Shane was the one that set the meeting up with Vix. And she got back to me, and she was totally willing to meet me. I was like, can we meet for lunch? I'm just so interested.
Yeah.
And she was like, absolutely. And what's your phone number? And I responded with 415, which is the Bay Area phone number.
Yeah.
Coveted now at this point.
Yeah.
But she was like, oh, you have a 415 number. Like, I have a 415 number. Are you from the Bay? And dude, that was like the moment where we clicked. We met up for lunch, and we just, like, bonded right away. Vix is obviously, as you know, an absolute gem.
I remember your guys' series of Let's Be Emo.
Oh yeah.
Those are great.
Those are awesome.
You guys were consistent with that.
We were,
and
it became a thing. You know, I kind of look at it now like, I don't know if I could do it now. It's a different time, but
yeah.
If Blink was there and all three of them were there, I would bring it back one more time.
Yeah.
But yeah, she brought me on. A couple months later, we kept talking, and an opportunity came up to kind of help her out, and that's where it all began. 2013.
Awesome.
Yeah,
and then how long were you with the Pandora?
5 years.
5 years.
It was about 4.5. And obviously, as you know, like, there was major changes in the business.
Oh, definitely.
What was going on in culture and streaming, and as you know, like, we got to do such cool shit. Like, I look back at Pandora now as upsetting at the time that it was. I got laid off with the mass layoffs, which at the time I was super upset about because Pandora was such a pivotal time in my life, and it meant so much to me that it hurt.
Yeah.
Right. But, like, looking back on it, it couldn't have been a more perfect time for me to move on. And I look back, it is the best experience I have had in my professional career so far. Like, I didn't even feel like that was a job.
Yeah.
Because we just were having so much fun doing really cool, big shit with artists. But it was also a great transition into what I do now.
Yeah.
So I took 6 months off, recharged my batteries, and I had wanted to go to another DSP, which we call in the business streaming service. And, you know, those jobs are very coveted and hard to get. They're competitive. I understand why. But there was an opportunity at Warner, a brand new position for a streaming lead of rock and alternative at Warner Records. And Warner Records has historically been a rock label. They have some of the biggest rock artists. We're talking My Chem, Linkin Park, Muse, Green Day.
Yeah.
The list goes on. Neil Young, Tom Petty, like,
back in
just insane.
that era. Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is sick. Like, I read the job description. It was like, you will be the lead to partner with Spotify, Apple, Amazon for the rock alternative roster.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and also like the catalog, right? Just the whole like
everything.
Yeah, cool.
Everything.
That's fire.
And I was fortunate enough to land that job.
Yeah.
It's been 5 years now. And it's been an incredible experience. I'm officially the VP of streaming strategy for rock alternative. And now we have a roster of country artists. So I also spearhead all of the country streaming strategy. So,
hell yeah.
Which has been exciting.
Yeah.
Because of Zach Bryan being our main focus. That's
and he's having big moments right now, right?
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know Zach yet, you should get on board.
Yeah.
He is an incredible artist. And I'm not saying that because I work with him. He is just an incredible talent.
Yeah. How closely do you get to work with some of these artists? Like
very.
Yeah.
Very. It just depends day to day. I'm not talking to these artists every single day, but if we have something going on specifically in the streaming space that involves their participation, I'm talking to them. And then some artists I have a relationship with where we talk pretty frequently every single release, and it just kind of depends. I try not to bring that barrier too close if it's not needed. I'm usually talking to managers and internal folks most of the time.
Right, as we all do.
I've gotten to talk with Zach a ton. Like he's a great guy. It's just incredible to see. That story has been my most exciting, from seeing an artist of his stature come to where it's at this quickly.
That's what my next question was going to be, like, who's the most exciting one, like, you're feeling now or you have been? And I guess it has to be
Zach. Like I can talk about a number of different instances and a number of different artists that has been so much fun to watch. Like watching the rise of Omar Apollo and where he's come. Yeah. We just put out Gus Dapperton's album, who he was on AWOL. He's an alt pop artist from Brooklyn. Fucking incredible dude. So yeah, and then I can go all the way down to my version 3 side, and Blue Eyes and Banshee and Baby Bugs. There's too many. Yeah. But yeah, Zach is obviously like, he's playing stadiums, so it's pretty wild.
Yeah. We might touch back into that, but when you say version 3, it's a funny story with how I found out about version 3, because we were talking about on Lunt's podcast yesterday, was a little context is we started this indie rock label in 2020, stay in the lane of rock, and in 2021 I came across a band, Beauty School Dropout, on TikTok. Saw them just with their kick-ass covers. Man, they were making those kick-ass covers. Yeah. And I don't know, I think I put on my story, and one of my friends was friends with Alex and told Alex, and then they came over like the next day. Alex, Nick Lippman, they're all sitting here in our house, like blown away. Like,
did the boys come too?
No, the boys didn't come the first time. The second time I think I went to their apartment after they were vibing me. Yeah. But the whole time they're like, okay, like, what are you guys doing? Like, what's going on here? Like, okay, we do production, we do this, we're this. And they were intrigued by us, like really intrigued with us. Yeah. I don't know if they, like, he wouldn't say it. I don't think they were sold yet on our business model, which fair, because we were a year old. For sure. And we probably didn't have yet what we were trying to do. And that's why, I met the boys and all, but we were trying to put a deal in front of them. And we even went to like Wade's old management company, Third Brain, like Jake Udell and Alec Udell, and tried even getting a deal in place to package to them. And all along they were telling us like, man, there's some sweet offer on the table that if you guys hit us up like 2 months before, like maybe. And and we knew it wasn't a major, but we were like someone like us. And then we come to find, like, we had the deal. I remember hitting up Alex like, yo, we just signed an hour ago. And I was so down, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, we're so close. And we were both jangling on our end to talk to people. But then I go in here, it's version 3, and it's Ben Farber is somewhat a part of this. And I was not mad anymore, because I was like, and I also said to Alex, I'm like, well, if I recognize what Ben recognized, I must be something right, because that man knows good music. And the fact that he found them before I did, at least I have something that, like, you guys are on the forefront. You're always a great person that has a good ear. And anyways, the context, you did a deal with BSD with them, and I did not care at all when I found out it was you, because I'm like, I'm kudos to him. And then we still did a music video under version 3 in my company. Yeah. And that was cool. We did it in this house right here. I don't know if you recognize that, but we did that Demons music video all up in this house.
I don't think I knew that.
We cleared out the living room. Honestly, the red curtains out there haven't moved since we did the music video.
Oh my God, no way.
And we just put some money together. I was still down to make a director thing, and you guys were working the song, and I'm happy how there was a way that we still collaborated in that way.
No, totally. Yeah. And it's nice to openly talk about it with you, because I don't think we've ever actually I didn't know the story.
I think we like texted about it afterwards because I was like, yeah, like I think we talked about it a little bit, but I don't think you knew the story of like, yeah, man, we worked so hard to like make a deal in front of them and give them what they wanted. And they, like Alex said, like, yeah, you present a good deal, but they were already, you know, in such good camaraderie with you and the other version 3 guys that they wouldn't feel right. And honestly, I wouldn't feel right either if it was role reversal either. So
I appreciate that. Well, I mean, it was crazy on our side because BSD was basically our first like really big signing. This version 3. Like we had a couple artists that we worked with before, like one of them still with us to this day. But like, I remember talking to Lunt, and Lunt has always he's a persistent dude. Like I love that guy. He's always been reaching out to me over the years. Like we've created friendship, but we give each other a lot of shit. But I do give him credit. Like he's always stayed in touch with me and stayed close, and he's always been like, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. And I remember they came to one of my showcases, and the boys came, and I told them that I was starting this thing, and Lunt's fucking ears just went off, and I was like, yeah, dude. And he sent me the music and I listened to it. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Oh, and then I went to a show. Yeah. I went to their show. They did at this like t-shirt store on fucking La Brea, one of those stores, and it was fucking nuts. I was like, this is fucking dope.
It's important for an artist to give you a performance or give you a show, because there's also like, we're talking like with some artists, like there's a difference between a performance and there's a difference between a show. And yeah, I feel like as they're still growing up, like, yeah, like when you saw them, when I saw them, like there was just this motley crew energy.
Yeah, you meet these dudes like Bardo, Coley, and Brent. They're like, you look at them and you're like, these are fucking rock stars.
These are rock stars,
and it was a huge moment for us to land that, and like I'm really proud of putting out Boys Do Cry. Like I have a lot of love for that, and like of course it was sad to see them move on, but it's also this full circle for me. Like they move on from the label that I started to go work with Mark Hoppus and Pete Wentz. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, that's crazy. We were so stoked, and we also got the opportunity to work on the next album with Versewire, who is Nick Littman's label, and Sherry Sadie, which they've done such a great job since, and it's just been a crazy ride seeing them like absolutely take off. Like nothing but love for those guys and Lon.
And those are great points you just brought up. Like, like even at me, like I, was giving my flowers to you guys to get them, and totally fine. Like just like you just said about Mark and Pete, but also like you just said, Versewire kind of kept you guys. They stayed like the BSD stayed a little loyal to you guys for being the first there, and that's awesome that Littman and Sherry didn't like take it any wrong way.
No, not at all.
Because that's what's important. Like going what you said a couple minutes ago, like it's like the more you're to help people and share and be kind, like the more it's going to be winning for everybody. And like, yeah, we did a deal recently with another group, and we're so happy like to do it with them and share the success with them, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's something happening that Josh Epple is my partner, and I also have Andrew Cram, who does Where All My Friends podcast. They're my two partners, but Josh and I are starting to realize that there's something different about how labels should be structured today. Maybe not majors. Like majors they'll always have to adapt and whatever. Right. But the independent labels, there's like something different about connecting with artists and like being in it for the long term.
Agreed.
Like I say that like there's really not one thing that's going to pop an artist off anymore.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can make the argument that TikTok could blow up a song, but does it blow up the artist? Do kids remember the artist if they are part of the viral moment? Probably not.
Are they going to go see that person's show when they're in town?
Are they going to buy a ticket?
Buy merchandise?
Are they going to go and stream the music? Like, who knows? Yeah. But like now it's more than ever, it's artist development.
Yeah.
And that's what version 3 is. We're a label, we're a distributor, but more importantly, we like to call ourselves an artist development company. And our artists are going to either stick with us or they're going to move on to bigger things because they need that type of support right now. Sometimes Josh and I can't provide that, right? Yeah. But like that doesn't mean that they're family, and like that there could be opportunities that come down the line. We just had an artist just today tell us that they're moving to a bigger label, which we're like, yeah, we're super sad, but so excited. Like that's wild that we were able to like help them on this journey, and it's nothing but love, and I'm sure we'll collaborate with them again. So yeah, to your point, like
we tell everyone similar to like we want to be the artist's best first and second step to their career.
Yeah, and you have to be okay with knowing that the artist is probably going to move on from you one day.
As a lot of other artists do when they're on majors and everything else. Like they want to go to Island Republic or whatever it is, or maybe they'll completely change their entity artist name and build another artist name up.
Right.
But yeah, I think, but also like I think we're fair to these artist development programs or structure, and like, look, if they go do a deal with them and if they blow up with like, you know, that big label, you're still going to have the project that you worked your ass off and collaborate with that will reap the benefits of
100%.
The success. So like, as they keep getting bigger, people are going to stream that album you did 100%. With them.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. So, it's, Beauty School's been really exciting. And then, from there we have signed 14 artists, I think. Wow. And then we've got one more on the way with our boy Lunt.
Yeah. And are these like EP projects or singles or what?
Well, we do project by project.
Cool.
So, you know, we don't ever want to hold an artist to multiple projects.
Yeah.
Our whole thing is that we're gonna kick ass so hard that it'll be, you know, we want to make it difficult for you to have to move on, but. You know, like if you have to move on, we totally get it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like again, tying artists down to things like that. A lot of independent artists don't want that anymore.
No,
so
yeah, they don't feel the need like they used to, like decades ago, where they felt like they did. Now, like with all the platforms and stuff, like they, sometimes can do it on their own or gamble on themselves a little bit more.
Yeah, so as far as singles and project to project though, like there has been a few instances where we have done deals just for a song. Mm-hmm. But you know, like we talked about earlier, we try to really find the project or the multiple songs that we're going to work to help tell an arching story from a long-term kind of perspective, right?
Yeah, it's important.
We did one song with Blue Eyes, because she wanted to do a test run with us, and we loved her so much, and the song so much that it was like, no, we have to do this. And fortunately, it led to us doing her next EP, which was Healing Hurts. And then it went so well that it's just continued into the next EP, which we put out. The last song's All Right About You. And then we're going to put out the deluxe next week. So it's just fucking like, you know.
Yeah. How big is the squad at version 3?
There's 3 of us.
Just 3 of you.
There's 3 of us. Myself and then Josh Eppel. He works at Hopeless Records. He oversees streaming, sync, and radio.
Cool.
And he's daddy.
Yeah.
He's running the show for all 3 of us. Josh, I always tell Josh I'm investing in you, dude. He's the one that always wanted to start a label when he was a kid, but yeah, it's us two. And then Andrew Cram, who we met through music. He's been in music, but now he focuses on working with this really fucking rad car service called Race Service. He's way into cars, so he does a lot of content capture and stuff for them, but he's kind of our third partner that's a little bit more on the back end of things for us. But yeah, it's just the 3 of us, and then, you know, we hire out when we're needed.
Yeah.
You know,
what do you find like the most effective ways to like market an artist, like an independent artist like that? Like, are you finding like, you know, TikTok like collaborations, or just like you just pressing UGC them to like do their own content? Like, what have you found to be the most effective, or what do you try to strive for, like telling the artist this is how we should try to market the song the best?
Well,
any, like,
I think
it depends.
It really depends, of course. It always just depends on what the situation is, like, you know, or where the artist is
like at. For us, like we're always pushing like UGC, you know, user generated content consistently. Like even our band Crooked Kings, like they found a rhythm in the algorithm of like doing like these, you know, 6-second, like, you know, it's Ollie, it's our lead singer, and having really like engaging text over it of like something that people will listen to and read, and, you know, be like, hey, like you're here, you know, you're seeing a first indie band, be part of like our come up or crazy story, this and that. He's found it. He's cracked the code where now like they're just on like, you know, they got it.
Yeah.
But have you found anything of your own that you kind of think has been most effective? Or
for us, we always strive to figure out how, okay, the first step always is, okay, where's the music at, right? Let's start there. And then what's the release schedule of the music that's coming out? That's where we start. because it's important to have a really strong streaming strategy for your releases. So are we working into an EP or?
And when you say streaming strategy, like getting on like editorials or playlisting?
No, that's another piece of the whole pie. But no, playlisting, which we can have a conversation about, is just one aspect.
Yeah,
it's more so when are we releasing our first single? When are we announcing the record? When are we dropping the next single? When's the record coming out? And there's a consistent cadence there, and that depends on is it an EP, how many songs are on it, what demos do we have after, yada yada.
Yeah.
From there, every artist is different, but what I say to every artist is consistency is key within your content. You have to dedicate yourself to putting out as much content as you possibly can, and every fan base is going to be different to what you react. You're not going to know what your fan base is going to look for or what's reacting unless you put out tons and tons of content. So, you know, like I give all of the credit to Katie, for example. Katie has found this niche. I'm sorry, Katie is Blue Eyes, I should say.
Cool. No,
yeah. She's a great example. Like she crushes on TikTok and has found this, you know, the message is key. What is the message that is going to connect with people? Her message is healing hurts. So she really speaks to, like, she'll sing lines. Like lyrics these days are more important than any just standard pop song now. It's the songwriter age is like what I'm starting to see. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm starting to see. So like, you know, for her, she just crushes lyrics, like has lyrics on the screen. It's her singing into them, really connecting. You could feel her. She just had one pop off just like 2 days ago. But like she puts out so many TikToks that like one was bound to happen, and it happened to happen at the perfect time.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too is like maybe it's not just TikTok. Like right now, Reels and YouTube Shorts is like you could pop the fuck off on those things.
Yeah, Instagram Reels.
Yeah, and so like, how do you monetize? How do you take a piece of content like, you know, the full music video that you shoot? What else are we doing to kind of complement that, where we're cutting it all down, and where are we distributing it through?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of finding those pockets and filling those, and really getting an artist to a place of being mentally confident to just grind at that.
And that's the hardest part sometimes.
Dude, I give all the credit to every artist that like puts the time in. Like it is a full-time thing.
Yeah, we got some artists that, like I said, Ollie has cracked a code. He's in rhythm. He gets it. He's like, this is my job. I have another artist that, you know, just can't like get himself to the point where like, I'm better than this. He's like, I'm better than this. I can do better than this. And it's like, dude, as soon as we know a better program, we'll let you know. But at the time being, this is kind of what you need to do. And like, yeah, we just need to kind of play this game. And you need to also just be able to show authenticity, like, you know, be okay with showing yourself. It's more important than ever. And I think you just got to communicate with the audience that way if you want to do what a lot of other people are doing and finding like major success.
100%.
Like even I know we talked about this in the past, but like, yeah, Ty Verdes is someone that we were watching closely on the come up of him back in 2020 or 2021. But like, his story is amazing, and he stayed consistent. And I think you know that camp.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, they did it great, and like, just kudos to him and other people that just showing no humility, or, you know, just fine with themselves and just gonna go stay consistent.
Well, that was also it was a different time for TikTok, and
that was when I was like,
Ty hit it like a perfect time, you know. And like, there's a bunch of artist examples that I could give that like really capitalized. But now, I mean, songs will go viral, but like for only like 2 weeks, like people's attention spans are gone, right? And so like those moments are crazy, and like Kate Blue Eyes is having one right now, right? Like it's super exciting, but like there's only like 2 weeks to like really capitalize on it. And then what are we doing to keep the momentum there, right? But then after you kind of have that all down and it's flowing, say you know, where everyone's moving, then that's where kind of Josh and I, you know, that's where we do our side of the work of like, okay, what partners are we reaching out to? Who's going to be a fan of this? Who's going to champion it? What single are we going to really go after that we need, say, we would like editorial support for, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not reaching out to every editor every time. We got this, we got this, we got that. No. It needs to be a strategic pitch of like, what is going to help grow this artist in the editorial space?
Makes sense.
Then on top of that, you know, putting money into ads, influencer campaigns. Like Josh handles a lot of that stuff. So it's like, okay, what pieces are missing there? And just rounding out what partners, like going after Sirius XM. Does this song make sense? How are we going to strategize that with the artist to, like, you know, make that happen? Those types of things are where Josh and I kind of step in and help amplify the project even further.
Yeah.
And then from there, you just, you navigate. Like, you put out a song, you see how it reacts, you see what we missed, what we accomplished. You know, you always want to see your release radar is your most important playlist, right? You hope that every release that you go throughout the campaign crushes the last one.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard to do that, but if you see that every time, it's like, damn, like that to me is a win.
Yeah.
Like every time. That now we're growing
growth.
organically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're building fans. You're building not just like people that are gonna share it for like 2 weeks span. You're building fans that are gonna check out what city they're coming to and buy that merch and like pre-save.
Yep.
Do you guys take care? Do you guys do pre-saves a lot, or do you think they're effective? Yeah.
Yeah, pre-saves are somewhat important.
Yeah.
Pre-saves do not translate to consumption.
Right.
That's just reality.
Yeah.
But what pre-saves do is they do help you gauge, how excited fans are. Mm-hmm. And gives you a bullet to talk about if there's not a ton to talk about, but you have 30,000 pre-saves. Like that's a good stat to bring.
We've had we put out a single, or we started teasing a single like last year, and one of our bands was, and then pretty much the audience was our A&R. They were like, they told us like that should be the single with how many pre-saves and how much the interaction was. Like, oh, okay, that's going to be the first single.
Yeah,
we did not think that was going to be it, but it's still one of their most like consistent streaming songs. But my point being is there's so many tools out there now where like the audience can be your A&R when you tease this on the platforms, and kind of tells you, oh, that's they love that 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, this
with Blue Eyes just recently is a perfect example. We've never done this. She's never done this, but like this song that she's about to put out called "Ruin My Life" that's coming with the deluxe. This video popped off, and her fans were just like, "When's it coming out?" And we just like thought like, okay, TikTok doesn't only last like 2 weeks now. Virality is so few and far between. Fuck it. Let's move the EP up 1 week. She gets to share with her fans that they dictated the move.
Yeah.
And everyone's excited. She was pumped. She's like, I've never done this. We're like, we've never done this. And that's another thing too that's really cool is like we get to be nimble with these things. It's me and Josh and an artist. So like, what do we want to do? Like, let's go.
Yeah. Do you guys ever do like any kind of false narrative stuff? And I'll give you an example. Like we did one with our first single like a couple years ago where we had the band go on, like we made a fake TikTok where they called us and was like, we really want to put this song out, and we had Wade pretend to be like the bad label guy, like, no, absolutely not, you guys aren't ready. And then making the caption like, tell us in our comments we should, and it blew up, and they're like, fuck that Wade guy. And I even got in there, I'm like, yeah, fuck that Wade guy.
The only time that we've seen that done is BSD. The boys did it like for a few times, and we thought it was just like so funny.
It's funny doing
like, our label's not letting us put this out. We were like, yeah, fuck you guys, we're not putting this out.
Yeah, it's funny kind of playing into that narrative for the short being of time where the audience is just wants to be pro artists and want them there. So look, if we need to take a little heat like right now for them to kind of get a narrative going, like whatever it can be, it might work, and it's could work. And yeah, those are the funny ways too that we've done. And we've done some kind of set up guerrilla marketing stuff. And like to your point, me and Wade, my two other partners, are able to be nimble with these artists. That's the fun part about what you do, what I do. It's like we're able to answer to ourselves and their needs, but really sit here in the living room over there and just jam on what's the best idea and not stick to anyone's corporate structure. Yeah. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's a different thing.
It's a different thing for sure. But what is just really excited me and is rounding me out, is that the experiences that I'm having at V3 I'm taking those types of things into Warner. Mm-hmm. We tried this, so I would spit that out in a marketing meeting at Warner, you know? So people have their perceptions of what a major record label is, but at the end of the day, we are there to serve our artists and to blow up our artists. And the times are changing. The major labels recognize that. We sit in there and talk about these things all the time, just like you and I are talking about that in our independent label sides. Mm-hmm. How do we be more nimble? Maybe it's a little bit more challenging because of a corporate structure and there's more people involved, right? But major labels are adapting to this too.
Oh, for sure.
We're moving shit all around all the time, and like it's coming into that where it's adopting to it too. So that's pretty cool to see the balance of those two things kind of like collide for me.
Mm-hmm. What's been in the label side with Warner, like what's been the biggest like misconception or perception of like working at a label, like if that's a good question
that we don't care.
Yeah.
That we're just there to make money
yeah.
and like be a money machine.
Yeah.
And that we're just there to like suck artists dry, and like
it's not that.
No, it's not that at all. It like rubs me the wrong way when people start to say that now that I've been in a major label. Have I had those thoughts before not being in one? Yeah, maybe, but like at the end of the day, this is business, right? We're going into the business side of things, and there has to be an understanding of how business operates, right? And the difference is for us, our commodity is humans. So there's emotions that kind of come into it that, opinions kind of like rise from it. But like at the end of the day, the people that I work with and everyone around me, all the way up to our executives and beyond, they're all massive music fans. They're all working in it because they love music and want to see music move culture. Mm-hmm. And like that's awesome. Like we really do care. Do tough decisions have to be made for certain things that are not working? Yeah.
Yeah. Like every day, like every job.
Right? Like it's a bummer, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the biggest misconception. And we've had to have conversations of like, oh yeah, you guys don't care because you're not paying attention. And
but that's coming from like the artist, right?
Yeah, artists.
And artists are like what I'm finding is everyone wants to be the favorite child, and look, like we care about everyone, but everyone wants to see. Everyone likes to see. I'm sure this is what it is, but yeah, like they see you working another artist, like, oh, I should be, like that. And it's like, yeah, like we're not saying because we're working with artist A, we're not, artist B over here, you're not getting the same love. It's just, these are the, what I've found, at least on the video side, working with video and marketing departments at labels, it's like, yeah, they have who they're gearing up for that quarter, or like who they're really going to push, and everyone kind of like does their part for it. And yeah, it's like a cycle of like, who's your horse this quarter, and they're all here to help. And, yeah, I feel like it gets a bad rep, the label stuff, and it's like they're here to help you. Like they're not here to pin you down.
No,
at least what we're starting. Yeah, what we're in. Yeah.
I mean, and deals, all that stuff. I'm not in any of those conversations.
Right.
Like they're all different. Like for me, I come into work every day because I'm so excited to work with so many different incredible artists, and like it's an honor to like be a part of a lot of these stories. And like I also like it's fucking nuts. Like. I'm interacting with artists like we talked about in the beginning that like I literally looked at my entire childhood.
Yeah.
Like Linkin Park, and like my first CD ever was Dookie.
Yeah.
And now we're going to be celebrating 30 years of Dookie in like a really big way.
Yeah.
And I'm leading the strategy on that.
That's awesome. Are you able to say, you probably can't say much about that, like what you're going to do for it?
We're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Dookie, and you're putting this out in September, right?
Yes.
So
September.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be definitely past September, yeah.
Okay, good. Then we're fine.
Yeah.
There's going to be something really cool coming. So
sweet.
But yeah, it's just wild. Like
we'll be at Warner. You guys have a really cool office downtown, right?
We have a beautiful office.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't say that because I work there. Like the shit is like next level for sure. It's the old Ford factory of the West Coast.
Yeah.
So like
I remember you had me for lunch one time.
Oh, did I tell you this already?
Well, no. You go ahead and tell me. But you had me over one time for like lunch. It was like right when you kind of started there too.
Yeah.
I came by and it was cool. You just showed me the office a little bit.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's in the Arts District in downtown. And yeah, it's the old Ford factory of the West Coast where they like produce the Model Ts, and our office is in like the production line of where the cars would go. So you like look up and like it's a huge skyline or glass, like because you had to open up to let the exhaust out because that's like they and there's all these pipes and things, and it's beautiful.
The infrastructure is still kind of there with the roots. That's really cool.
It's dope.
Yeah. And Atlantic's in that building too, right?
All of Warner Music Group is in that building now. They all consolidated.
Yeah, I work really close with a lot of Atlantic people, and they're like, "Come by the office." I'm like, "Yeah, I think I know a Warner guy there too."
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to touch a little bit about too is like you do a cool event. You put on a cool event too. That's like a showcase, right? Yeah. What's it called?
It's called Under the Radar.
Under the Radar, yeah.
I do that with my girlfriend Jess.
Cool.
And her cousin Elliot. That idea stemmed from COVID and a lot of artists doing live stream shows. And one of the things I saw was that a lot of artists were playing on rooftops around downtown LA.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh,
dude,
I was renting tons of rooftops.
Were you? Did you do the Griffin one?
Maybe in like during COVID. So what we were doing was like a lot of like the Ellen show or James Corden. They wanted like artists to be performing in dope places, like Sam Fisher, for instance. I did Sam Fisher for Ellen. Maybe the Griffin one. I definitely did a lot of Griffin back during the COVID era. But like, yeah, but to your point, like we were renting cool like rooftops or ideas for Corden, Ellen, late night Fallon, like all them, Kimmel, like go out in the area and shoot some stuff.
Yeah, I get those fucking drone shots of them playing and shit. It was so rad. And I was like, dude, my rooftop is like right in the mix of all of them. Like some of my place was like in some of them. I was like, I should do this on my roof. But I wanted...
So did they do? You did on your roof?
Yeah, I did a few.
Oh, sick. Cool.
That's where it all started. A friend of mine, like she was managing an artist, and she was like, "Yeah, like let's play 3 songs and do this." And I had like 20 people, and I can't remember.
And just acoustic sets.
Just acoustic sets, yeah. And I did a few of them on my roof, and then Jess was like, Jess and Elliot were both like they've wanted to do it in their backyard for a while, and we were like, all right, let's like do this in their backyard and like kind of expand it a little bit more. They have a beautiful backyard in Mid-City, and Elliot is a builder. Like he just fucking builds shit, like fixes shit, and I call him our secret weapon. But like he built a whole stage, and we just started firing, like doing a couple, and like we bring like a couple artists on. The difference is like our whole idea is how do we become different from like what other showcases are in LA, because there's a lot of great showcases that like I love. We found new music, Jesse and Friends, So Far Sound,
School Night maybe was
School Night's one of them, sure, right? Like, and they're all really dope for developing artists. So like to have another one, it's like, okay,
yeah, what's going to be different about ours than theirs?
So my whole idea was like I've always envisioned having it's much more private. It's for industry people. And it's for artists to feel comfortable enough to come and perform in a very relaxed setting for just industry invite only. So we don't promote them externally anywhere. It's just, you know, word of mouth gets around and you're invited, and we try to keep them as free as possible. Open bar food, and it's a way for artists to showcase themselves, for obviously anyone in the industry to discover a new artist and potentially work with them, and then networking. Yeah, everyone meeting one another.
Yeah, I feel bad I haven't come to one yet, man. Fuck.
Yeah,
I need to come, man.
You got to come check one out.
I will. I've been traveling a lot.
It's been an incredible experience. We've been doing it for like 2 years now. We've had some just amazing artists come by, and it's become like a thing that I never would have expected.
I remember we were saying I did a video in February with Ellie Duhay and Teddy Swims.
Oh yeah,
and you were
wait, you did that video?
Yeah.
So did you know that they met?
You told me that.
Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because we
talked about this.
Yeah, a little bit.
My memory is terrible.
No, it's okay. On Instagram DM, I think you like were posting about it that week, and I was like, yo, I did the video for him. Like, yo, that's crazy.
Dude.
Like, they met at my event, and we kind of briefly just had a little combo.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah,
and Teddy's on Warner too.
Teddy's awesome, man.
He's
so
the man.
Cool, and his manager's really cool too.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah. But they
Luke.
came and we did a lot. It was cool because this structure we did with Ellie and Teddy is honestly like going back to like, you know, we're TikTok and YouTube. Like, I understand that people don't want to spend a lot of money on music videos. Like, this has been my main thing for a while, but I totally get now that you're part of a label and me too. It's like ROI. Like, why am I going to spend 50 to 100K on an upcoming band to do a music video? Like, when it should go on this. So that being said, like with Ellie and Teddy, we were close to Ellie's management team, and we got like a small budget. It wasn't like terribly small, but it wasn't that big.
Right.
But what we positioned was like, okay, we're gonna knock out the cover art, we're gonna knock out a little visualizer, and we're gonna knock out a live performance all in the day for like, you know, 15,000.
Amazing.
And yeah, it gave them all the content they need because they got their cover art for photos. They got a live performance, which I think Teddy's MO is just amazing when he does live performances.
Oh yeah.
And then we did a cool music video visualizer that my guy director Jordan Wazzy like got hella creative with. But point being is like, yeah, like that's the kind of content that sometimes you just need to do when you're kind of in that level like Teddy or Ellie were at the moment. And I thought it was amazing. And we're trying to push more people to do that. And people have seen that. Columbia, Atlantic, people are like, that we're using it as a case study to tell people like, yeah, we don't understand if your artists don't want to spend all that money. There's anomalies when we do these big videos with people, but if you want to get visuals, let's get as much, like we said, content. Get as much content as you can.
Yeah. We talk about that with some artists of just, is it worth doing a whole video, right? Rather than taking that budget, like you said, and just like, let's create like 100 short videos of just like what your visuals are all about, and like see those everywhere. So like it's you got to think differently now more than ever, and like take your budget and where's it gonna, you know, how are you gonna maximize it? And you know, as we all know, people's attention is short. You know, so why not create short videos?
Yeah. No, I mean that's what we got.
I actually never thought about that. People's attention is short. Create short videos.
Yeah, putting it like that. And for us as the film people, we're like, so like, because we're in our, you know, our 30s, and we're like, man, like vertical and like 15 seconds, like we're used to, like we want wide and cinematic, and there's a place for that, like, but also it's just what it is. Yeah, this is where it's consumed,
dude. And
so when the TV came here,
I'm reaching this age now where like I'm just like, yo, I'm not cool anymore. Like I don't even know what is working and what doesn't. Like I saw this thing of like how late 30s folks like use Instagram, and like one of the things is like they like turn the word side. Like the wording, like when you write wording in like a Instagram story and you like turn it so it's like diagonal like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, I do that all the time. It's like, no, it's not cool anymore. So it's like, I don't know. It's so funny. Like we have this whole viral marketing team at Warner, and there are all these kids that are like 25, 23. They're super fucking smart.
They're
like,
in it.
They're dialed. They know what's up. And I'm just like looking at them like, wow, I'm not the kids anymore, man.
Yeah.
Like,
like they're used
so I'm always asking them like, all right, what are we doing here? Like, you know, so
Same.
Like I've realized that like shit like this is going to always evolve, and I might not be as quick to notice those things. So, you know, like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but
it's important. Where you're going is like, it's important to adapt, but it's also important to bring in the people, like you just said, like asking those like 23, 25-year-olds, like, what's up? Like,
exactly.
Same thing that I'm doing with these ones here. It's like, I can't be on TikTok longer than 5 minutes. I find it obnoxious. I can't like get there. Yeah.
I have an idea. We got some folks that work for you here.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. How old are you guys?
I'm 22.
20. All right.
22.
You guys are 22.
22.
I mean, you got test cases right here. What do you guys think?
Well, we always, it's funny that we always are playing demos for them. Like, what is going to be the one?
Yeah,
and they'll be like, this part is going to be the TikTok sound. We're like, it's funny how they're already like thinking of that.
What are you thinking about when you listen to demos? Like, what's the first thing?
You can answer.
I'm a musician, so I think about a lot of things. But I mean, if we're thinking about TikTok, like, yeah, I mean, what's going to be funny? What's going to be, you know, you can keep hearing over and over again without getting tired of it, but it stays in your ear.
Yep.
It's like all about that worm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
Yeah, totally. It's like the earworm. If it's catchy, if you're going to be like humming it, like when you're
that's
driving home or like at the gym, anything. Like if it's in there, it's.
And are you guys just using TikTok, or are you like using Reels, or like what is your go-to for like content right now?
For me, like TikTok. I love Instagram Reels though.
You do?
Like, that's like way more like personalized to kind of like the kind of stuff I'm interested in, and the music they play on there is different a lot of the time from my favorite.
Interesting. Interesting. What about Threads? What are your guys' thoughts on Threads?
I haven't even ventured off into Threads yet.
I don't know if that's gonna stick.
I'd say YouTube is good too. I watch a lot of YouTube.
YouTube Shorts?
I watch some YouTube Shorts. Yeah, I have some friends that are obsessed with those YouTube Shorts. I don't know why.
My nephew is 12, and all he is doing is YouTube Shorts. I think that's like, for them, like at 22, like they're hitting to TikTok and Instagram. I think like, I don't know. For some reason, I think the next generation under them is obsessed with YouTube, because I think like even my nephew was just always growing up with an iPad in his hands, like since he was like 4 years old.
Yeah.
And was operating YouTube at a 4-year-old. I can't imagine what I could operate as a 4-year-old doing what he did. With technology. And I think like, it's interesting what that's interesting.
Yeah, but like that's what's so interesting about music and technology is like, you know, you look back and man, you can erase so many different things that have kind of happened over time, like MySpace and LimeWire and all this, you know. And
Kazaa.
then like,
that was my thing.
What was it?
I was Kazaa.
What the fuck?
I was like LimeWire.
Oh, was that really?
Kazaa, Morpheus.
Oh yeah,
well, you're straight LimeWire.
Mine was LimeWire. There was another one.
Kazaa.
Pirate Bay.
That
was one.
And we were on
Napster.
Yeah. That's old school. We were on
but like
days.
that shit never existed. And then like social media, and then streaming, and then like, you know, now you're like seeing, okay, where's it going next? That's what I'm always thinking about. What's next, right?
What do you think is next?
Well, it's an interesting time for music because AI is obviously the new shit right now, right? On top of the fact you know, that I don't want to ignore Web3. I still think Web3 is very important, although it's kind of been put in the background because of what is happening with AI.
Yeah. Well, my thing with Web3 to touch on real quick, I think there's always a 4-year cycle happening with that shit. Like 09, 13, 17, 21.
Yep.
But like 20. So my point being, I think 25, we're going to see again this dopamine effect kick into everyone.
I hope so, because I'm buying my Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. I'm not making this mistake again.
I haven't sold my Omi coin. It's supposed to be a billionaire on Omi.
God,
David Flynn. David Flynn promised me this.
Damn it, David Flynn.
Yeah, he promised me.
Well, just sit on it. 2025.
Yeah.
You never know.
Oh, I know. I haven't thought about it, but yeah, that being like, I agree. I think the Web3 stuff, like. I think it was pretty kind of early, like when it kind of came on board, as everything is. Like it scares people when new shit happens.
Big time.
And then it kind of goes down, but then it comes back to normality.
Right. So then you start to think about like, okay, where are people's attention going, and what is coming next? You see like Threads, great example, just an explosion, whether it sticks or not, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. It's got the attention that it needs, but like this is what's happened is like there's always an evolving of technology and people's attention, and we're not out for people's hard dollars anymore. We're out for people's attention.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like that's why I always preach artist development with fans. Everyone is always all about followers and monthly listeners. And yes, those are important when you're having day-to-day conversations. But like at the end of the day, if you want to be a career artist this is going to be your life, that you're playing shows, you're shifting culture, like it shouldn't matter where your fans are online. It should be wherever time is going, they want to be along the ride with you as an artist. Right? So it's just like you can never transfer over. Like you saw at MySpace, like so many bands in the scene had so many followers that doesn't transfer over to Facebook,
right.
And so on and so forth.
Yeah, and then four programs later, you're like,
right,
is Dashboard Confessional on TikTok? I don't know. Like,
right.
But like
TikTok just launched their streaming service in a couple markets.
Yeah, like Sound On, is that what we're talking about? Or no?
Well, Sound On is their distribution company, but their streaming service, I think it's different.
Yeah.
But could that be a competitor?
Could be.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But could it?
I'm glad you don't think so.
I don't, just because like unless they have something else to like offer, it just feels like it might be too late to the U.S. market.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm not an analyst, so. But yeah, but again, that's where I kind of think of blockchain. Could blockchain shift music streaming and like how music gets paid out and artists getting paid? That could a streaming service come along and build a service on the blockchain that could potentially reach direct to fans and to the artists? Like
we saw some of that with Blau, like what he
did.
Okay,
I don't want to talk about NFTs because everyone hates NFTs, but like that concept from a basic standpoint, that shit's like super interesting if you approach it in the right way and present it in the right way. And it just all got fucked with NFTs and people getting screwed, and the barrier to entry, setting up a wallet, all that shit is wild.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was pretty well versed in all of it, and still I was lost.
Yeah. So
and then AI, I think AI is, what Grimes is doing right now is like fucking, that's wild. And there's a lot of controversy.
What's she doing exactly? Because I know, but just
from
for
my
our
understanding, she is licensing her voice to be used on other songs.
Right, like she's the one that's like, I'm okay with what they're gonna do to me.
Yes,
like they're gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna give my blessing now.
Right.
She's
leaning into it.
She's leaning into it. And yeah, I've seen that in the news and stuff. It's crazy to see where it goes.
That could be pretty wild. I don't know. I don't really know, but like that's what's so exciting. Nobody gets it. Yeah. This is the theme, I guess. Like as we like talk about it, like I don't get it. I don't know where it's going next. I would never even think that I would be in this position in streaming and what I do in my professional job when I first started. And I don't expect to be doing the same thing in 20 years. Mm-hmm. It's just you kind of have to like flow with it.
Nobody gets it.
No
one
gets it.
Brand name, right?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
So we've just been building off of, the records, the management, now the podcast. It's just been our theme.
It's great, man. It's great branding. It's awesome. It's very exciting what you guys are doing. And like, dude, like you're setting yourself up, because this is another thing we talk about with version 3 and why it just can't be a label. You can't just be a standard label anymore. You really have to have all sorts of different avenues to help artists in different ways. You're providing that, right? Like distribution, content creation, strategy. Like Josh and I talk about these things all the time, right?
Yeah. I had one Atlantic Videos like commissioner come over here to hang out one time. And I thought he was just coming over about like dojo and doing videos, but he was like, honestly, I want to talk about the whole thing because mainly about Nobody Gets. And he's like, what exactly that what you just listed off, like content and marketing services and label services and management. Like this is like kind of a new thing that labels are going to try to go after, is like these kind of collective units like us or like you, that can do like kind of the full service kind of thing and understand artist development all around.
Totally.
And yeah, he came over and was just like preaching a little bit about like running with this, and he's like, however I can help, and he's a very good guy, and I'm gonna tap into him when I can. But yeah, it's like I was surprised when he's like, dude, every label is trying to talk in the boardrooms about how you guys might have something here.
Yeah, and dude, it's crazy. I had a really awesome experience. I got to meet Jack Holzman, who is the founder of Elektra Records.
Oh, cool.
He's an old guy now, but he comes into the office and he's still working away.
Nice.
But, you know, like I asked him, I was like, Jack, I ask every person who's kind of in your position and where you're at in your life, what was your first job in the music business? And he goes, I started a label in my college dorm room and I called it Elektra. Dude, and he's a legend. He is the one that pretty much built helped partnership with Atlantic and with Warner and helped build ADA to provide a distribution platform for Warner. And then Elektra now, it's one of the 3 majors of Warner Records. He's a fucking legend.
Yeah.
But like him saying that, I was like, dude, like this, Nobody Gets It, version 3, like you don't know where it could go. It could become, you know, another major in some sort of way, right?
Yeah.
Like you just never know. But it all kind of starts like, I was like, I have some faith that like maybe this could go somewhere pretty big, right?
I think so. Yeah, so, I think we keep to our course, we keep to our passions, keep to our niche, and stay true to why we did this in the first place. That, you know, I think it really does go. It's cliche, everything I said, but it's like really the truth, man. I think artists see that, and other now majors are seeing it too.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And we partner. Warner Records partners with. We have tons of JVs with all sorts of different independent labels like
Royal the Serpent, like their whole, I don't know if you're familiar with that whole squad.
What is she on? I should know this actually.
NBD, she's on with Mike. Fuck, I'm blanking right now. NBD Management though, but they were also you know what? It's a completely different name. Volcom or something.
Yeah, I can't remember. She's Atlantic.
Yeah,
right?
she's Atlantic now. Yeah. And but her whole like management, and then like when my Atlantic guy came over, like he was using them as an example. Like they worked out a deal with Atlantic. They were like us, right? Working with artists like this, and Atlantic gave them a deal.
Yeah,
and brought them in.
That's what's cool about majors is like they can partner. You can still be, you know, an independent label operating on your own, but have the backing of a major. So you know we work with a lot of like self-sufficient labels that are just upstream to Warner, and a lot of artists like to do that these days too. They have their own label and they just upstream it to Warner, and we're working with them on a daily basis. So it's definitely possible for us.
Yeah. What is I mean, we definitely already answered my theme of this podcast. You know, what is it Nobody Gets about yourself or what you do? But maybe it is like what I do want to maybe throw it back. Like, what is it that nobody gets about like the career path you've taken in the last 16 years? Maybe it's the work ethic. I mean, you kind of answered even about Pandora. It's like, you know, you said like, you know, as much as it hurt, and I've been in that situation too, where I was like pretty much like almost like laid off from production company, but it was a blessing. Like, what is it that nobody, you know, gets about, you know, it could be about your job, and we even talked about misconceptions, but is there any other piece that we could give to the people listening that they might not get about what you do or what you've gone through?
It's a great question, man. I think that like when I think back now and when I was younger, and I'm sure like a lot of the next generation is thinking this, now that I've been in this business long enough, I think one thing that I didn't get was how much time it takes to really become ingrained in this business. Mm-hmm. Like it takes time to build relationships. It takes time to understand how to move, what to do, how to talk to artists, how to interact. I don't think like and maybe I don't know if this really is answering the question, but I guess nobody gets that. You know, like people are sitting at the top of what they do now because they've been in it for years.
Facts, yeah.
And that takes time and patience and hard work. Like it from an outside perspective, and my friends who don't work in music have always said, like, Ben, you have like a fucking crazy life and you do all this fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, it's like wild.
Yeah.
But like in between all of those Instagrammable moments is like some shitty ass days, hard work,
long
tough
days,
conversations,
weekends, maybe
very upset people, upset yourself because something like it's a grind, right? And like, dude, mistakes, like all sorts of shit. I've made so many mistakes, leaking shit, releasing shit, saying something wrong to an artist. I mean, I can name. I've made so many fucking mistakes, like it's wild.
Yeah.
And I guess, yeah. To wrap it, I just think nobody gets that, like, if you want to be in music, you have to be in it for the long term, just like the artist is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that's what I was like thinking about the garage, is like, you know, like where I came from, and having shows in my garage and playing those shows. I realized that like that's kind of how what we're building for every single artist is, like for their garage to grow, right? And like, how do you partner with other streaming services or any partner? It's like they have their garage. It's big.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have your garage. So how do you excite your garage to get them to want to come and hang out in yours?
I love that.
Like, that's what we were doing when we were kids.
Yeah.
And like, but that shit, it takes time, effort, and energy, and patience, and consistency. And you'll get dragged down a lot while you do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you stay in it and you believe in it and you love what you're doing every day, and you remind yourself when you have those really exciting moments, like I go to shows and I get to be, you know, watch an artist grow, it's like, fuck, this is worth it.
Yeah.
And yeah, eventually you just, I don't know. I mean, I still feel like I'm just getting started in my career.
I do too.
You know, it's early for me. I'm still learning myself.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to keep that mentality now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that answers the question.
No, that was a beautiful answer. That was a great answer. Nailed it. And yeah, I think we're like we just asked them back there, like, what are you guys doing? Like, you constantly have to be a student to the game of this music industry, and keep adapting and keep learning those platforms and keep learning strategy. And yeah, I think you like to go off what you said. Yeah, it's like it's never going to happen overnight. Like the people that do find fame, success overnight is 1 in a million.
Yeah.
And you have to build it. Like everything with Dojo House, when nobody gets it, I always knew like it's 24 months. Like get 24 months and then it's going to be promising. But put in those 24 months and it'll get to the places you'll start to see that start to see some leaves grow out of the ground.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we talked about this earlier, but like also having respect for one another is really important, because like as I get older, like we talked about earlier, like the kids that are the next generation, like I have to remind myself to be open to them telling me like, no, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And like, as you get further in your career, it gets tough to be like, no, dude, I've been in this business for 20 years. You haven't, this is your second. No. You got to be open to hearing that. Like, that's what they're doing. Right. Like I just like, I want to be at the top. I want to run a label, whether it be version 3 or the head of Warner one day, whatever it may be. Like I want that and see that for myself. And I feel like the only way I do it is like everyone below me has to kick ass 10 times more than I do.
Definitely.
And if I have that, then we're going to be the most successful label ever.
Yeah. It's a team sport. Yeah, I can see it, man. I have high everything along the way. I can't believe sitting here now. I'm like 10 years. Wow, I've known you 10 years, and
yeah, dude.
I've seen the career grow. I've seen you just chase the passion and stay passionate. It's truly inspiring for me, and I'm glad our friendship has stayed the way it has. And
yeah, man,
I can't wait to just see you keep going into the person you're trying to become into this career, man. So,
no, I appreciate that a lot, dude. You're one of the main homies, and it's been nice to come back. I haven't talked about my past in a long time, and it's nice to relive and like be reminded of these things for myself. So dude, this is awesome. I highly support everything you're doing, and like let me know if I can help in any sort of way.
Oh, you will, dude. You will. I think there's a lot of things we can still collaborate and do things
100%,
together.
dude. 100%.
Yeah. I'm happy we did this. It was important me to have core individuals on this, and you were one of them. And
thank you.
Dude, just thanks for being on this, man.
Thanks, dude. As long as mine does better than Alex Luntz, then I'm happy.
We'll make sure of that. We're going to pump up the streams if we have to. That's awesome. All right, dude. That's Nobody Gets a Podcast. Check it out more on all our platforms. And this is Ben Farber, and we are signing off. Peace.
So if you want to like commit like a super huge homicide,
I need to cut that one out.
Let me finish, and then we can cut it. Go to Ozona, Texas, and go to that motel, and go to the gas station.
And
just ask for any room number, and they will give it to you.
And that's the intro.
Yeah, that's the intro.
Cool.